Portfolios. Whether you're talking about artwork or writing, it doesn't matter. Portfolio is kind of it is a reflective piece. It covers a vast amount of time. For our purposes, it just covers, what, 4 months? Okay, whatever our semesters are. We started it. You probably didn't even notice it, but we started it that first couple days when we talked about our initial philosophy of writing. Okay? In looking over the handout here on the portfolio, you will see that there's only 10 things that it includes, roughly 10. Okay? Every piece of writing we've done, including the drafts, and then 4 additional original pieces that you'll be writing next week, or on your own. I set aside a day for each of them. And we'll go over those in a moment, but they're reflections on, reflections on the course in general, reflections on what you thought was your best piece of writing. Okay? These portfolios are an important tool, okay, so that down the road you can come back and check it out and see what growth you had. Some of you might not take a writing course until second semester of college. Come back and see the growth. It'll help you out. Even if you still don't like writing, is it something? Is it easier? Are you not as petrified? How was this last process of the research paper? Was it less painful than in the years past? If it was, why? Having a computer in front of you every single day? I'm sure that would help, but you had that last year. So what was it? Was it the pre-writing? Was it your outlining? Was it actually listening to your instructor? Whatever it was, you need to just kind of think back as to what motivated you throughout this semester. There's a reflection on what your best piece of writing was. Maybe it was the research paper because, wow, it was just great. I was so pleased with it. It turned out well. It was a controversy I liked. Well, I don't know. Maybe it was your memoir. You got to talk emotionally about something that, was an impact, impacted your life, rather. I don't know. Maybe it was your resume writing. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just the quality with which you, argue your case or support your claim that this was your best piece. There's greater details that we'll go over in a little bit, and a lot of little questions within those reflections. Those are just to help get the ball rolling, because the minimum is 400 words. It's less than a journal. 400 words, isn't that a page typed, double spaced? That's a minimum. With some of this stuff, I'm sure you could go on and on and on, and you'll have to kind of rein that in. You'll want to practice in your reflections, practice what you preach. If you want to talk about how I've developed better word choice and fluency, why don't you show that off in your reflections? This is your final exam. Your final exam grade, okay, for the course is this. It's not conducted during final exam week. We'll have some separate writing that we'll do. That is not your final exam grade. This is your final exam grade. We'll have a week of focused energy on it. There is not a lecture of me every day. It just is, today we're working on the best piece. Tomorrow we're working on the course reflection. The next day you're working on, it's just for those of you who are, I came up with a term last period. Disciplined deprived. Meaning that you don't have much of a focus and you kind of get distracted easily. Ooh, something shiny. Whatever it is. I give you a little bit of baby steps. Let's work on this today. Let's work on this the next day. Let's work on this. That type of thing. You're free to write them all over this weekend, all at night, study all. I don't care. As long as you're going through the process, that's all that I care about. So let's take a quick look at this. The bottom half of this paper, it shows you the 10 different writings, the last 4 of which are the reflections that I just kind of briefly skimmed over, but are the second page of this handout. The thing that you will include that you don't see on here are the drafts. For your research paper, it just has listed number 6, research paper. But I want your first draft. I want your second draft. If you don't have a draft, you obviously won't put anything in there. Whoops. Okay. If you have some of those, like I think the memoir, can't remember if you had 1 or 2 drafts, I'm not sure. Okay. But all in all, you're going to be posting 20 files roughly. First day of school, we set up in your H drive on the server a comp folder where you should have been saving all of this. And so now all we have to do is just organize it. what I recommend, and please just do what I say, it's much easier, trust me. Make a separate folder. Copy and paste each of these things that need to go over onto your portfolio, because not everything will that was in your comp folder. So this is just kind of thinning the herd and focusing on what you need to work on. If you look at the bottom of this paper, it's important that you label them exactly. Now those dates may or may be off just a day or two, so you'll have to figure out what date this was written, what date you submitted this, so that looking in your folder, if you have them all correctly, it should be in chronological order from the start of the semester all the way up through the last final draft of your research paper. Piece of cake. Once that's all done, it's an easy upload. You upload those up into Moodle. If you start doing them one at a time, it's just a mess. So just make a separate document, or not document, a separate file on your H drive in your comp folder, call it portfolio, whatever you want to call it, and then start copying and pasting and rebranding. Okay? That's simple, it's easy, no real thought has to go into it. That's the first step of your portfolio. The second step, like I was saying, are the reflections. If you look at the bottom page there. The first one, dealing with the best piece, then your reflection of the course, followed by your portfolio evaluation. How do you think your overall portfolio is? Well, if you're missing some drafts, it's probably not a great thing. Okay, but be honest with yourself. There's no point in you lying with this. I'm just curious to see what you think or where you think you are as a writer. Why do you think we spent all that time this year talking about self-reflection, and why don't you self-assess with this rubric? Where do you think you're at? Here's what so-and-so said. What do you think? You might start to think, oh, that's why he had us do all this. Yeah. We spent a lot of time, a lot of days going over that stuff. Okay? Now we need to bring it full circle for your paper. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to grade this here in a moment. And then lastly, what I'm really kind of interested in, and I hope that it's different. That's why I know that there are still some of you in here who don't like writing, and I understand that. But what is your new philosophy of writing? Surely it changed. It had to have. Seriously, you've written 15,000 words if you've done all what you're supposed to do. But each journal is 500 minimum. There's 10. You've done 20, 25. Do the math, folks. Thousands upon thousands of words. Now when we come up with, if I say here, I just need another 400 word reflection, hopefully you didn't go, oh, shoot me now. Hopefully like, that's a page, done. Hopefully that's something. I'll take that at minimum. But each person here is different. Some people are working on word choice. Some people are trying to develop fluency. How did you do? Some are trickier than others. Did you find that added help from me? Did you find that added help on a resource to help you? Do you feel more confident? Some of you, this is the end of the road for schooling this year. Those of you that are going on to college, do you feel like you're in a better position? Every year we get emails back from students that say, thank God you taught the comp course the way you did. You teach it like a college course. I am so far ahead of other freshmen right now for a basic writing course. Not everybody feels that way, but a few people who were very hesitant about themselves as a writer were feeling much more confident. I can do this. This is nothing. Look, everybody's struggling. This is nothing. Done. Okay? So that's what I want you with your reflections and your revisions. And be honest. Don't lie. There's no point in lying. But do the best you can. Okay? Do the best you can. And that's what we'll be doing next week, but I wanted to talk to you about it today. Go ahead and open up the rubric. This rubric looks different than rubrics that you've had thus far. Okay, this is called holistic scoring. You are getting 1 score for the entire thing. So when I look at all of your accumulated writing, when I look at your process on how your writing has changed from draft 1 to draft 3, or from your resume writing through your research paper, okay, I'm going to look at all of that, and this is very difficult, but try to give it 1 score. 1 score. That's the holistic scoring. Look at some of the wording. Okay, the top. Excellent. These are very hard to get. If you're very good, you're a very good writer, you're going to get a 4. Look at why. Look at the number 3, a good. Good. Good writing, quality, good, overall quality. The writing is competent, both in content and style. There are more strengths than weaknesses, so I established that there are strengths, there are weaknesses, but there's more. Okay, so there's more good than bad. The reader may want more to be fully convinced, so you're doing a good job, but you can just be a little bit better. So where do you think you're at as a writer? Maybe some of your earlier work was stronger than your later work. Or hopefully, flip that, you got a lot stronger. Do you think that you are up to the 4 level now? Maybe the 2. I'm fair. I think I'm okay. I have a lot of weaknesses, but I think I do a few things right. Be honest with yourself. I'm not going to give you the grade you think you're going to get. If it happens to fall and be the same one, well, then we are on page with where I think you are and where you think you are. You'd be surprised how many people last year said, oh, I have a 5. But you have a D in the class. But you have a D in the class. So be honest with yourself. If you are a C student right now, can you justify why you're a C student? And that's part of that reflection. That's part of the thinking about it. Maybe you're a C student, but maybe you're really a B writer. Argue that case. Let me see what you think. Maybe you're a C because you miss deadlines and you fall back, but the quality of your work is a B. You just have a problem following rules. I don't know. Do you see what I'm talking about? Now, look down here at the little box. This is the last thing I'll talk about, and then we'll get moving. If they're a 3, I'm like, man, they're really close to a 4. They're more a 3 than a 4, but they're better than normal 3s. That's where I can do the plus or the minus. But I use that sparingly. I normally go the 3s, the 4s, or the 5s. But then if I have somebody who goes, well, they're a 4, and there's a lot of 3 there in them. Okay, maybe I'll give it a 4 minus. Okay, but otherwise I really try to stick with just the solid ones. So those are kind of to help give you a little extra points if I think that they are required, if they're needed. So you can see what those play out as. Okay, take that into consideration while you're giving yourself your score. Be completely honest, folks. You can't fool me. You can't fool me by thinking that you're great. If you're really that great a writer, trust me, I know. I won't think that you're bragging. I'll think you're being honest. Okay? But be honest with me and be honest mainly with yourself on these portfolios, and that's what we're working on next week.